Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we just successfully landed on Ike. And now we need to gather ourselves some data here. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a crew report. And we will keep that. Temperature scan. Keep that. Atmospheric pressure scan. Keep that. Mystery goo observation. We'll keep that. Seismic scan. Keep all of that. Materials study. Keep that. Go ahead and close the doors there. And let's go ahead and gather up all of that there. Perfect. And now, Bob, let's have you come on out. And in the meantime, we will restore our Science Junior, as well as our Mystery Goo. Excellent. Grab an EVA report. Keep that experiment. Turn on RCS. Let go. Turn on RCS. No, we're just falling. Okay. Good job, Bob. Grab yourself a surface sample. Keep that. And away we go. Excellent. And we'll keep the KER indicator of where we're going to be landing here. I think there is a pretty decent spot. And let's just go ahead and do a bit of braking here. And excellent. And we're going to go ahead and plant ourselves a flag. Bob was here. And the plaque text will read, not Jeb or Valentina. Well, Jeb was kinda here. There we go. Okay. And now let's head on back. Fantastic. Let's turn on RCS. That usually helps. For whatever reason, the upinator wasn't working. I don't know why, but the spacebar didn't want to go up. As soon as Bob is done ragdolling on the surface, we'll just go ahead and... Yeah, the spacebar still isn't working because it's shift. I have no idea why I was pressing spacebar. Spacebar was never going to work. Okay, so that'll get us pretty close to where we want to be. Excellent. Should probably start braking here pretty soon. There we go. Okay, come on. Okay, Bob, let's do this. You can get back on here. There we go. That was like a perfect landing right there. Just dead on with that trajectory. I like it. Okay, so we can climb out or let go. There, now we can board. Excellent. Okay, so we've got this nuclear engine, and we've got about 4,800 Delta V to get back with. So that's going to be exciting. Let's just make sure we've got all of our science collected up here. Collect everything in the experiment storage unit. We also have walked on the surface of Ike and planted a flag on Ike. And in the meantime, I think we just need to take off and head on home. We've been here. We've done pretty much everything we were going to here. So let's get on out of here. Excellent. So we have about 23 minutes of burn time. Hopefully that's long enough. It should be long enough. I'm just going to rotate us a bit here. In fact, I'm going to rotate us all the way around here. Would have been faster to go the other way, but I didn't realize that before I started this roll. Now I realize that. Okay, we've got an apoapsis height of about 9 kilometers. Let's go ahead and wait until we're up to about 15 kilometers. So that'll be a little bit longer here. 12 is probably enough. Let's go ahead and start pitching over this way. Get ourselves some horizontal velocity. And let's just simply go to horizontal velocity up. No, not minus, up. There we go. Okay. So now we can retract our landing legs. That'll be fine. We just need to get out of here. There we go. How are we doing on our orbit here? Poorly, currently, is the answer. Time to apoapsis is going down right now, so we definitely need to continue this burn. And, I mean, essentially, we're just going to continue this burn until we break orbit of Ike. That's pretty much going to be it. So let's just keep on doing that. I'm going to go ahead and go up to 4x time acceleration. There we go. Apoapsis height. And we're now getting further away from the time to apoapsis, so that's good. Apoapsis height is currently at about 17 kilometers, and still rising. And we are, overall, making our way on out of here. Not going to bother with any circularization or anything, we're just trying to escape right now. That is all we care about. But in order for that to happen, we need to continue burning where we are for the time being. And maybe make a couple of small adjustments to our trajectory. I mean, there we go. Now we're technically in orbit. And we just continue to burn our way on out of here. We will be back in the Duna sphere of influence very soon, and once that happens, then we will work on breaking out of that. Also, keep in mind that this is our second to last manned flight that we have planned. I am still committed to landing Kerbals on Duna. As to how we're going to do that and get them home, I haven't thought that through fully yet. We'll see how this flight goes first. If this one goes okay, we might do some sort of a rendezvous. We'll see. We actually should probably cut our engines right now. We are actually slingshotting out of the Duna system pretty substantially, so that's great. In fact, that's absolutely perfect. And it's not technically a slingshot, but we are escaping Duna. So let's go ahead and warp there. 6 days. I wasn't really paying that close of attention, but that's okay. We do not need to stop any time warp. We got all the science we're going to get. So let's head on home. We are, of course, now over Duna, and we are just about to enter the sun's influence. Let's go ahead and warp on up until that actually happens, and it now has. Excellent. Okay, so we are now going to set Kerbin as our target. 0.1 ascending and descending node, that's not bad. Let's just check a quick home and transfer to target here. Create node. Node in 1 year, 148 days. Hooray! Okay, what does that actually give us for an encounter? That's a little awkward. What happens if we make a few small adjustments here? Something along the lines of this, to make it a wee bit more equatorial. I mean, that's still not very equatorial. But we can make it equatorial, or close to it. About like that. And then what's our periapsis? That's not bad. Let's go ahead and move it in a little bit. Periapsis of about 100k. Whoop, that was way too much. Nope. Too much. Little too touchy here on the old mouse wheel. Gotta make it nice and slow. There. That's pretty good right there. It's not perfectly equatorial, but it's close. 853 delta V. We have so much delta V. We are fine. Execute that node. Okay. So that should be perfect. We are now well on our way home. We should have enough delta V in the tank to break easily, looking at the state of this. It shouldn't take too much at all to break that. So yeah, we should be able to land very, very easily indeed. And now we are simply time warping ahead. So, as far as our landing on Duna goes, that's basically going to be our next plan, because we've got a rover on Duna and on Ike. So we're just about done with the Duna system. So as far as landing a rover, or landing a Kerbal, or multiple Kerbals, on Duna goes, well, I need to look at some thrust to weight ratios for some engines. I do think that we're probably going to have a setup similar to this to return with. This is plenty to return with, apparently. And so with that in mind, I think a reconnaissance. I think a rendezvous is going to be probably the way to pull it off. We're going to need a couple of drogue chutes and a main chute that will need to be repackable with an engineer. That's fine. We can do that. So essentially, we'd be looking to land this section. It would need to be powered to some degree, but this section here would need to be detachable. Well, with the heat shield, I think. I'll need to look at it in the vehicle assembly building, but essentially we'd be landing with this structure here. This would remain in orbit, and we would probably want to slap on a drone core onto this so that we could control it to some degree. And then beyond that, basically all we would need to do is land this guy, get all of our science, take back off, achieve orbit with this, and then have enough delta V, ideally in this, to be able to reattach to this. Something along those lines. Of course, if we have a drone core here, and we have this much spare delta V, we could always theoretically do those rendezvous maneuverings with this stage. That is a possibility. The big thing is, this guy has to be able to get down to the ground and take back off and re-achieve orbit on its own. Once we have that, then we're fine. I'm going to go ahead and physics warp this burn. Like so. So yeah, I think that's kind of the plan for how we're going to do this Duna landing. Otherwise, we are, 258 days away. So yeah, I mean, we'll need to look at thrust-to-weight ratios for different types of engines for this landing module. We'll need to redesign the structure of this, for sure, to accommodate a full-on landing module. And then this would become our return stage, rather than part of our landing module. But this burn will be done here in another minute and a half, which of course, at 4x time acceleration, is less than a minute and a half. Now that it's only a minute, so about 15 more seconds of burn. Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be the plan. Of course, the real question is, how do we get down safely? Well, it's probably going to be a similar structure to... that's not quite as equatorial as I'd hoped. Close enough. It's probably going to be a similar structure to what we had for our sky crane for landing the rather ill-fated rovers. And then, as long as we're here, I guess we may as well adjust the inclination a little bit, fix that, since we have millions of delta V to spare. Something along the lines of that. That'll be plenty. Yeah, go ahead and execute that node. So yeah, I mean, we could return home a number of ways. I think this structure will be fine for returning home. As you can see, we have so much spare Delta V. It's absurd. And to think I was worried. No, we've got plenty of Delta V here. Even with a heavier lander module, we'd still have plenty of Delta V. So overall, what I'm thinking right now is, just like I've been saying, the main thing that we need to figure out is how can we attach and detach this heat shield. Do we actually... Well, we don't need a heat shield going into the Duna atmosphere, though. We've already proven that. We can get away with that without a shield. So we have our drogue chutes and our main chute. We shouldn't expect those to slow us down too much. The primary purpose of those would be we've already got them for our atmospheric re-entry coming home. We might as well use them. So I think we leave the chutes as we have them right now with the 2 drogue chutes and the 5 main chutes. We just leave those as they are. And the purpose of those is primarily to return home with. We can use them on descent through the atmosphere as long as we've got an engineer with us to repack them. So that would be fine. Go ahead and make this burn here. I'm also going to physics warp up that burn. And here we are back at Kerbal. We were just at Ike not too long ago, of course. But here we are back home. And we'll be landing one more craft like this on Duna, and then everything else going forward will be unmanned one-way trips. It's just starting to get annoyingly far away. I realize that we haven't done manned landings on a lot of places, but I didn't promise manned landings everywhere. So yeah, I think we just do our final manned landing, and then head on home with that. And once that's done, then we should be in a good spot to move on to the dress system. Well, I say system, but move on to dress. And then on to Jewel, which of course we've already been to the once. But we're going to do a lot in the Jewel system. We'll be there for quite a while. Probably somewhere around 20 episodes or so. And then once we're done with Jewel, we are definitely on the downhill slide. Then all we have to do is a little bit with Elu, and then we're pretty much done. So we are definitely making good progress in this KSP playthrough. There we go. Go ahead and kill rotation. Let's check our orbit. Gorgeous. That is fine. Okay, we are currently heading what direction? This direction. Okay. We're going against the grain. That's, or we're going against the rotation. That is going to make our descent a little more interesting, but that should be fine. Let's go ahead and warp over to the periapsis. In fact, I think we should probably go ahead and stop our warp right about now. Surface velocity minus. And I just want to go and drop our periapsis down to be about 30 kilometers. Ah, that's too high. I want it to be closer to 10 kilometers. Which could be a bit of a lengthy burn here. Of course, I'm not doing a maneuver node, I'm just completely eyeballing it. It'll be fine. What could go wrong? There, close enough. 10-5. Excellent. Hold this attitude, and let's just warp until we hit the atmosphere. We did not hold the attitude. That's fine. Okay, so we are hitting the atmosphere now. We are right next to the KSC as it is. KSC is basically directly ahead of us. You can see it right there. I'm going to go ahead and start burning off our excess fuel here. And just burn off as much speed as I can. I'm also going to go ahead and deploy, well, I'm not going to deploy our drogue chutes yet, but I'm going to set them to maximum pressure or minimum pressure and minimum altitude. It'll be fine. So as you can see, we are currently overshooting the KSC substantially. That will get closer, but we're still going to overshoot no matter what. At this point, there's no way that we can stop in time to land over here, which would be my preferred landing spot, but I really didn't stop the time warp soon enough to pull that one off. It's fine. It's not like we're hurting for money or anything. Our thrust to weight is exceedingly low here, but we are currently reducing our apoapsis height substantially. We are officially no longer in orbit. Our apoapsis height is now inside of the atmosphere, so we are now in suborbital flight, kind of. Yeah, we're definitely in suborbital flight. In fact, we're going to be kind of close to the Woomerang launch site, aren't we? No, that's on the other side of the world. What am I talking about? We are going to be on the other side of the KSC continent over here, the one that looks vaguely like Africa. I mean, it's kind of part of this mega continent, but this looks vaguely like Africa, this looks vaguely like the Iberian Peninsula, so I think of this as Africa, this is Spain, this is the Mediterranean, and then Europe is like up here. It isn't, but that's the kind of analogs that I consider it to be. Let's go ahead and open our service bay quick, grab an atmospheric analysis, close our service bay. Might as well grab that since we have it available. Excellent. We still have a lot of fuel to burn off, but our time to impact should be, yeah, minute 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. We're only a minute from impact. It'll be fine. Okay. We aren't hitting any overheat yet. The minute we start getting close to overheating, I'll eject these for sure. We're starting to get close to overheating. I'm going to go ahead and eject. Oof. That was awkward. But we're fine. Look at that. It ejected exactly what I wanted it to. Fantastic. Okay, so next off, we need to deploy our drogue chutes as soon as it is safe. We are still moving very quickly, and we're kind of a bit low. We're going to be fine. This is going to be a completely safe landing. But that got a little dicey when I ejected those. It'll be fine, though. Let's go ahead and run another atmospheric analysis, flying low over the water. We'll keep that experiment. And collect everything. Excellent. We can now deploy our drogues. We can now deploy our mains, which we will go ahead and do. And then as soon as we start dropping down to more like 20 meters per second, I am going to grab us this EVA report. At this speed, we're still moving a little too fast for me to consider that to be very safe, but it should be fine. We'll be down on the surface in, well, this says 30 seconds, but it'll be a little longer than that since we're constantly decelerating. Okay, we are currently moving at 170 meters per second. I'm going to go ahead and physics warp this up a little bit until we get some nice parachute deployments. There we go. Oh, I know why the drogues didn't deploy. It's fine. We're going to get out Bob. Bob is going to EVA report. Keep that and hop in. Excellent. Okay, and let's just go ahead and physics warp down to the surface, which is going to take a little bit of time. Impact time of 10 seconds according to this, if we didn't have the force from the millions of parachutes. And the reason the drogues didn't deploy is because I set the altitude to be minimum instead of the altitude to maximum. It was just very foolish of me. So come on down, guys. We've We've got a glorious sight for you to behold here, in that we have like a trillion science in this. Not technically, but probably like 1.5 to 2,000 is my guess. Probably shouldn't have been physics warped up when we hit there, but it's fine. Oh, we can do a material study here, apparently. Look at that. 10 more science. Go ahead and keep that. And let's just recover that. And let's see how much science we get. It's going to be a fair amount. There's no doubt about that. Wow, 2,094.6 science earned in that one. I like it. And we also got ourselves a bunch of returning home from things. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we will begin probably the planning stages for landing on the surface of Duna. However, if there's some good, if there's good contracts, we may not. We'll see. See you all then.